Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Million Dollar Mentor Program 10 Definite Steps to be Mentored by the Very Greatest. My name is Walid Naki, and I am here to make a bold assumption that I could show you my top secret through which I have manifested incredible results, not only to get great ideas on the table, but also to act on them in the proper way and get the desired income. So, are you ready for this? So let's get started. Let me start with you with a fact. We all know that it took Thomas Edison 1,000 times to invent the electric lamp. Now, even though it is a great achievement inventing the lamp, wouldn't you say that it has cost him a great deal of time, stress, and most certainly money? Well, I bet it was. But what if somebody came to Thomas and showed him how to invent the lamp from the first time, or maybe with only 10 failures? Wouldn't you say that it would have saved him a significant amount of stress and resources? Now, the only reason he didn't do so is because there wasn't any person, as far as we know, because it was the first invention of the first of its kind. And back then, nobody knew much about electricity or the relative principles at that time. However, but if it was actually true, if you were in his place, if you were Thomas Edison, would you say that it would worth it? Well, I bet it was, saving you time, money, energy, resources, stress, for sure. Now, here's the true fact. Did you know that in today's world, that the preceding hypothetical example is true for 90% or more of most of our greatest goals? And the only ones that are not included are the very, 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 let's say, far and wide from what most people want. But if you desire financial freedom, if you want, as far as we say, to become a millionaire or earn 7 or 8 figures a year, there are so many people who are ready to show you how to eliminate all the failures, or at least most of them, and go directly to the highway that leads you to your goal to live a more fulfilling and incredible life. Isn't that great? Now, you can have a mentor that will eliminate your 999 and lead you to the solution directly, leads you to freedom, to financial freedom, maybe to a relationship that you seek and crave for. Maybe you want to get to a better health shape or get a better health condition. Maybe you have a problem you're playing with and you couldn't solve, and you're juggling for a long time and you don't know how to come through it. There is a way through which you can achieve more with less. And that way, my friend, is called a mentor. Now, what is a mentor? Simply, a mentor is somebody who has already been where you want to go and has exceeded that level so far. Let me talk in terms of money because it's much easier to measure it in a figurative way. If somebody's aiming to earn, say, $100,000 a year, he better look for a mentor is usually somebody who is earning at least $1 million or $500,000 a year, so they can know exactly how to easily earn the $100,000, right? Now, why is it important to have a mentor? First of all, as I had mentioned earlier, because it eliminates all the failures that you could get involved in. And the other reason is that they have a higher point of view of things. They know what is necessary for you to do and what not to do. And not only in terms of your work, they can also tell you what to do outside of your work scope. I'm not suggesting they will show you exactly how to live. No, because I believe this is everybody's freedom and everybody got to live the way that they want to live in their lifestyle. But to some degree, we have to carve our lives in a successful manner. Because at the end of the day, how do you utilize your thought and your time is the most important element to live a successful, fulfilling life, right? Now, why does having a mentor works? Let me show you exactly why and how does it work. Let's say you are right now on level 1. Let's say that you're earning $50,000 a year and your goal is on level 3, say $150,000 a year. You're shooting at that star, all right? Now, the way you view it is that your goal is 3 times bigger than where you are right now. And most commonly, you would define it as hard. Something you don't know how to do it, because if you have knew, you would have already been there, correct? So what's the solution? You go find a mentor who is on the level maybe 30. This is the level I usually suggest. But you can go to somebody who is at level 15 or maybe even 10. But let's stick to 30 so far. Now, a mentor who is at the level of 30, now we're talking about somebody who is earning 10 times your goal. If your goal was to earn $150,000 a year, go to somebody who's earning $1.5 million or maybe $2 million a year. And that person would view your goal as 10 times tinier than where they are. In other words, it's very easy. They can do it like that. And so when you get mentored by someone in the right way, you adapt to a new perception that you cease to look at your goal as something hard. And instead of that, you look at it as a tiny, easy thing to accomplish, and you go ahead and accomplish it. Isn't that great? Now, what a mentor will do? First of all, they will clear the confusion. They will make things easy for you. Second, they show you the clear picture. No more complications about it. They tell you, this is where you want to go. This is exactly the things that you have to do. I heard it somewhere, I don't know where, but somebody said most people spend most of their times doing things inefficiently. They're wasting a great amount of their resources, their potential, their power over something that is mostly unproductive. Third, they shave years of experience of that as a result. Then they eliminate, if you had to try 1,000 tries, they would eliminate usually 999 times. Maybe sometimes they just leave you with 5-10 tries, but at the end of the day, they will leave it easier to you, much way easier than it was before. Also, they lead you to greatness. You know, reaching your goal is not the only thing you're going to get out of a good mentor, but you're also going to get a nice characteristic. You will learn how to spend your spare time doing things that you really love, but at the same time, growing you subconsciously without any effort on your end to build the character that matches the person that you deem to be. Also, they lead you to give up excuses. Trust me when I tell you this. We're talking about a vibrational transformation. If you don't know much about the vibrations and their transformation, take my word for it. You have nothing to lose, but I can tell you with upfront certainty, and you can take my word for it. Somehow you're going to feel so much greater when you mix up with the right people. It's like what was said. You're the average of the people you spend most of your time with. I know the quote goes like 5 people, but it's usually how you spend most of your time. And when you learn how to surround yourself with the right mentor and learn how to choose the right mentor and how to get them to mentor you, you're going to develop a wonderful character that gives up every excuses, and instead of excuse, it executes. Wow. And lastly, they let you see things as they are. Many people are stuck in life, my friend, because they decide that things would remain still the same. So many people break up in a relationship that is no longer used for it, and they still crave to have it. So many failed businesses, when they should move on and close the business and go think of and go explore a better idea, they refuse to see it the way it is. And instead, I've seen so many people doing this, pouring more money in a failing business that won't work. They will let you see things as they are, and they will tell you, listen, this doesn't work anymore, leave it, go to that. It works better, and in fact, it's easier with less cost. All right? Now, let's take some examples of people who were mentored by others. My mentor, Bob Proctor, was mentored by Earl Nightingale, who started actually the industry that I'm in right now, which is the industry of recorded personal development messages. Another example, self-made billionaire Sarah Blakely, who invented Spanx, and you usually see her on Shark Tank, was mentored by Sir Richard Branson. Also, the great soccer player Mohamed Salah was mentored by another Egyptian local legend. His name is Abu Trika. Now, Salah has surpassed Abu Trika so much far than the other was. But he was mentored. When he was mentored by him, he was considered like a superhero. And they're very good friends, in fact, until today. All right. Here's my question to you. How to get great people like Sir Richard Branson, like Bob Proctor, who mentored me, Earl Nightingale, people as great as the best in the industry, not only to mentor you, but to crave that they care about you to help you reach your goal. That you achieving your goal becomes their priority on their agenda as something they want to see, how to put your success in their bucket list. The answer is to get their perception. What do I mean by that? You look at what is really important to them and fulfill it. Let me go a little bit deeper about it. Successful people love excitement. That's why they became a success. Now, they're not excited because they became success. No, they became success because they were very excited and interested in what they're doing. And that's where dedication came from, and enthusiasm as well. It's like someone once said, people don't make money because they are excited. Sorry, people don't get excited because they make money. They make money because they get excited about it. All right? Could you imagine somebody who's sitting in a CEO place and they are not being paid? I don't think they would do their work usually as, let's say, 50, 60 people out of 100 wouldn't do it, right? Because so many people, unfortunately, do things that they don't want anymore, but the only reason for them to get excited about it and get promoted and do a better job is their excitement about money or anything else. Now, some people get excited about doing the things that they love. They don't care much about the amount they're going to get. We see that in organized charitable organizations that are aiming 100% to help humanity. Like, I know a lot of CEOs who are really dedicated to give the best to people, not for, let's say, material income, no, but for psychic income. They were excited about their goals, and so they achieved them. All right? The key is to get the proper excitement out of the person you want them to mentor you. Find a great person, make them excited about yourself, about your goal, about you achieving your goal and reaching it, and boom, you got it. Would you love to know that? Here's our game plan to achieve that excitement. Your mentor is here, all right? You, on the other hand, are here. Now, there is a gap between you and your mentor, and you want to cross this gap and fill it. However, you have to pass on 2 stages. The first stage is a checklist, which you have to fulfill, and the second one is an approach, which you have to follow to get the right mentor. Now, here's your checklist before finding a mentor. Let's go through them one by one. But I need you to know this from the beginning. Perfection is not a requirement to get mentored by the best. However, best effort is. And the measure of your dedication and your effort toward what I'm going to give you and share with you right now will determine to a great degree how much you're going to get out of it. So are you ready for this? All right, let's get to the first element of our checklist. Clearly define your goal. Now, how could you do this? First of all, choose something that you're in love with. Something, as I said before, you're very excited about, you're really interested in, all right? Second, describe it in as much detail as possible. Know your goal precisely. Let me give you an example. If you want to buy a house, you couldn't even put a price on the amount that you need to buy the house unless you know how it is, right? And the same way, the mentor will never know how able they are to help you if you don't paint a picture in their mind of exactly what you want, all right? And the more details, the better for you. And 3, look for role models who inspire you, and usually look for the best. At this stage, just look for people who do really inspire you. They don't have to be your mentors, but you might follow them on social media and see their lifestyles. Start being affected by them. Like one of the ways I would recommend, let's say, if somebody wants to become an actor, I would tell them, go find the best 5 or 10 best actors or actresses and follow them on Instagram and spend like 10, 15 minutes every day checking their profile. Look at how they spend their days. Look at them maybe when they perform or on the set. See exactly how do they live. This gives you kind of an emotional attachment to your goal, and it helps to inspire you. It works in one way or another, your creative mechanism to help you paint the picture of the goal in as much detail as possible. And fourth, create a self-worth. Know that you're worth it. Know that you're worth of the goal. Self-esteem is the most important thing you'll ever have. You want a shortcut to that, to get to that self-worth? Every day in the morning, take like 5-10 minutes and be really grateful for having the goal already achieved. Be thankful for it. And then go talk through your day as you already have it. Because when you have it in your mind, as Catherine Ponder said, you will hold it in your hand. Okay? Let's move on to the second step. Choose a mentor. How could you do that? Look for someone who has far greater than the results you want. Look for somebody, like you might think of CEOs if you're in business. If you're in real estate, look at the best agency or look for the best agents in your hometown, in the area that you want to work at. Look for them. Start observing them as much as you can. You might go on an internship with them. You might pay them a visit and tell them, I just want to share you to learn from you. There are many ways. You might find on their website, contact us and tell them, I want to go to them. They might hold a workshop or an event or maybe a course. Go attend this course and start observing them. How do they master their craft? And try to get tips as much as you can from them. And the last thing, stop big dealing them. They are great, and you are, and so you are. Please understand this. Nobody's better than any other person. I don't care who the other person is. We're all the same. We're all equal. The only difference is in our results. So you're a great person observing another great person who has greater results than you. And results, positions, the six packs and other stuff do not make any person a wonderful person than the other. These material things are just an expression or means for you to have a more fulfilling life. But as my mentor Bob Proctor always says, the essence of us is spiritual. It's like fourth dimensional. Like when you tell somebody I love you, you couldn't really explain it. How do you love them? You just tell it to them by gestures. So when you love somebody and give them, for example, flowers as a gesture of loving them, they say, "Oh, thank you, that's nice." But if you walked up to a stranger and somebody, let's say I saw a stranger girl and I just presented to her flowers in a disrespectful way, she would just throw it in my face, and maybe I don't know what she would do to me, but she wouldn't find it a good gesture. Now, in the first example where you loved somebody and gave them the flowers, which is the material mean, they loved it. However, when I gave it in a disrespectful way to another girl, she didn't like it, right? So the material is only an expression, as means of expression that could have multiple definitions of how you feel. So when you feel yourself as a person who is worth mentored by the best, as a person who has a great potential, which you are, I believe you have an incredible potential to do whatever you want to do. Trust me, you will realize that there is nothing in the world that you're unable to do. All right. How could you know the mentor you want? Let's go a little bit in deep about that. As I said before, find somebody who has already achieved many times the desired results that you want. All right? Look for people who inspire you on that side only. What do I mean by that? Some people, the other day I was having a client around last month, and they wanted to become a good real estate agents. And when I told them go to their office and ask them to start chatting with them, and he followed every step I gave them, which I'm going to share with you right now, and they were like fine with them. But my student didn't like one thing about them, which is their attitude outside their house, outside work, with their family. They found out that he is very rude to his wife, to his children. I asked him, does he disrespect you at work? He said, no. Well, does his temper from what happened at home affect how he deals with you or how you're going to benefit from your work while you're being mentored by him? He said, no. In fact, he's great. I just don't like him for being a bad person in his personal life. So I told him, listen, this is business life. This is social life. Whatever he's doing to his family, I believe in karma. And usually what goes around comes around. And you don't know exactly what's going on within his house. Maybe he's trying to fix the problems, but he's going through some problems, from some psychic problems within himself. You have nothing to do with that. So stick to the business side with them as long as they treat you good in that business side. Now, if somebody who thinks that they are arrogant and they are much better than you and you don't, and the other person doesn't worth to be helped or mentored, that's when you should pull up the brakes and look for someone else. Accept the idea that you are mentored by them. In your mind, as we said earlier, self-worth, self-esteem is the key. How could you find them? Well, there are many, many ways. You could ask people you know, the connecting links. I believe that every town, every area has their own methodologies through which they could ask. You might go to a bank and say who is the head of that department if you want to work to a certain department. Second, you could look for mutualities. You might know a friend who you might have a friend who happened to be a mutual friend with someone else. Start looking for that. Start asking about them. If you want to become a good real estate agent, hey, you might ask most of your friends, do you know any good real estate agent who is doing really well, who is living happily? Third, social media or websites. You might Google search it. If you're living in Calgary, Alberta, in Canada, you might search best real estate agents in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And you might call them, phone them, go to their office and talk to them. If you've ever read the story, The 1 Minute Manager by Spencer Johnson, this is an incredible story, but the way I like about it is how the guy, I don't want to spoil the story if you haven't read it, but if you would read it, you'll understand exactly what I'm telling you, what I'm explaining right now. And fourth, if they have a course, maybe they're teaching how to do business, if you're in business or real estate, you might start by attending it to prove how serious you are. In fact, I find it a wonderful step. That's the first thing that grabbed Bob Proctor's attention, that I'm really serious about him. Like to fly from Bahrain, my country, to Canada, where my first course with him was, which was Matrix. First of all, the course was costing me around $15,000. And second, the traveling expenses were a little bit higher than anybody else. And I had to travel like on a transit for a flight of a total of 22 hours, well, from Bahrain to Toronto, and another 24 hours, 22 hours coming back home. And that did really impress Bob Proctor. And he said, wow, this guy's really serious about it. And I remember on the very first thing on that event, which I attended, he didn't meet me before. He said, where is Walid from Bahrain? It was Matrix in December 2014. And these were the first words that he said. And he had me stand up in front of everybody, over 100 people, and they all gave me a hand. It was an incredible moment. And then he was really impressed by me of how serious I am. And then he told me, would you do this? Do that. Study this part. And I would come to him and tell him, Bob, I have this problem. What should I do? Should I do this? Should I do that? He would tell me, no, go here. And you know something? Sometimes he might share with you something that you think is wrong, but in the long run, you discover surprisingly that he was right. That's the magic of having a mentor. That's why I'm telling you, it's really, really worth it. All right? A caution. So many people in the coaching, life coaching thing have manipulated the industry. So many people in the mentorship arena have manipulated it by just putting in their bios, we are mentors, we're coaches, we're certified, blah, 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 blah. If you want somebody to mentor you, make sure that you have incredible results. I don't know if you have seen my presentation about the 3 steps of the process of manifestation. And if you haven't found it, you might go to unlockedabundancenow.com and sign up for it and see how it works. And I believe most people who know me have actually attended this webinar. The first thing I did was demonstrating by pictures and testimonials and the proofs what I have done and achieved. Because you don't want to waste your time with somebody who's just blabbing about some things, fancy things that they couldn't even reach, just to get your money in their pocket. And be careful. And sometimes, I found out that many successful people don't want a lot of money, don't want money actually from you. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit later. Now, so don't go by the bio. Just go for somebody who have results. If you might look at their Instagram account, if they didn't show you by themselves, and see the way they love their lives. One time a guy, he told me that he's gonna teach me some marketing techniques, and he said he would charge me $20,000 a year. And when I looked at his bio on Facebook, I remember seeing he was traveling on economy class. He was just driving a normal Corolla. He was dressing very normally. Now, I don't think people should be done. People are not made better or worse by that. But if somebody who asks me to pay him $20,000, and as he claimed he would help me earn 6 or 7 figures a year, don't you agree that they should be earning that amount first before just pretending that they could help me? So once again, the bio and the business card and the brochures are not the content of who they really are. Now, how could you know if you made the right choice while choosing a mentor? First, as I mentioned earlier, look at their outlook. The first impression matters a lot. I usually, when I want to be mentored, or if I want to sit down with somebody, the first thing I see, the way they're dressed. It tells you a lot. And as Mama said, you don't get two chances to make a first impression, right? So that's first impression. And once again, we're talking about vibrations. If you have studied them in depth, you'll understand what I mean, but they kind of radiate something that you don't know exactly what it is. Just you feel good. You feel you're in the presence of somebody who's really great. Second, their lifestyle. Look at their lives, the way they're living it. They reflect and talk a lot about it. And usually, not always, usually people who are successful in their business life, they are successful in their personal life. Now, everybody have their own desires. Nothing to judge. I respect totally that everybody have their own freedom to live the life that they want to live, despite what their choice is, but they live it to the best. Let me give you an example. If somebody is single and they want to be single, it's not that they are miserable when they're married, it's just they love being single. You would find them single and happy being single. And the same vice versa. When people want to be married, you find them happily married. Most successful people have this kind of lifestyle. You look at their achievements, and sometimes you might take calculated chances or test water first. Sometimes you don't have much choice. Like, you don't know exactly what to do, so you might just go with them a little bit. Like, I have a few mentors who I started with, and at the end of the day, I found them, they know nothing about what they were blabbing about. So after a month or two, I just pulled myself away from them and I stopped listening to them and unfollowed them. And on the other hand, other people who turned out to be my very best friends, even though I didn't know much about them. All right? Now, the third step on your checklist is building a game plan formula. This is where the action begins, where you start moving towards your mentor. So are you ready for it? All right. This is something I call the scene technique. I want you to create a scene of the following. Your goal. You have reached your goal. Just imagine it. Visualize it in your mind. If you want to have, say, $1 million, I want you to visualize you already having $1 million. And let's say you want to have them from an online shop, an online store. I want you to visualize having an income from your payment platform, saying that you have earned in the last 7 months $1 million. All right? Second, a scenario. What do I mean by scenario? Let's say that you have a certain number of sales that you see on the sheet. Let's say that you have 100,000 transactions. This is the scenario. The scenario, in other words, is the cause that will cause your goal to happen. All right? And then you write for the causes of that cause, or the causes of that scenario. Let me make it a little bit vivid for you. Let's say you want to become a superior real estate agent. What I would suggest is that you imagine that you have a great portfolio of closed deals, that you see them all the time. Now, the next step is, what would cause that? What would cause you to have a great portfolio of closed deals, of becoming, in other words, a good real estate agent? Let me share with you, for example, like you want to have, for sure, in fact, good sales skills. You want to have good estates to sell, right? Because if you don't have estates to sell, you have nothing to sell. And you got to have a great personal contact with human beings, because human contact is the key to success. All right. And then after getting these COCs or causes of causes, you analyze each of them. You write down 1 to 3 things you can do about them. Let's take, for example, the contacting people. If you want to become good at contacting people, what are the things you usually would need to become a good contactor with people? First, you might want to get a good outlook. Go visit an image consultant to tell you how you should dress, how you should talk, how you should walk. Like something about etiquette and other stuff to give people a nice first impression, right? Second, you might learn the right techniques of cold calling. You might get good scripts of good openers while cold calling people about real estate. All right? And you want to have a good closing sale technique, learning how to pitch. So your aim at that time would be to master these skills that are inside, that are circled. And when you do that, you automatically develop a nice outlook. You would have a good cold calling skill that you won't bother about calling new prospects all the time. And you would be very incredibly great at a closing sale. All right? And then you do the same thing to the other two. And when you do them and master them and practice them with the proper coaching on a reasonable period of time, you would have a great portfolio, which will lead you to become a great salesman in terms of real estate. All right? All right. So we have covered the first 3 elements of your checklist. A clear defined goal, choosing the right mentor, creating to the best of your ability a roadmap. The next step is experimental knowledge. Start executing the plan that you have developed. Go see the image consultant. Go start learning how to pitch. Go cold calling and learn the good openers on how to become better at what you're doing. Now, this is very important because when you get to the other part where you meet your mentor, you would show them that you are dead serious. You show her that you are a doer, not a talker. All right? And as a result, it would lessen their burden while helping you. It will show them you're a quick learner. You have already covered the basics, which anybody could teach you, so they could go immediately to the advanced stuff that could get you above the herd. Isn't that great? All right. The next thing is to have intellectual knowledge. Dedicate 30 minutes at least to widen your knowledge with good resources. Once again, with being a good real estate agent, find the best books, the best courses about it. I know Grant Cardone is an incredible figure when it comes to real estate. Go investigate more about it. Go follow good Instagram accounts about real estate. Widen your knowledge as much as possible. If you would take only 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, that's 2.5 hours in a week. And within a month, that's an extra working day of just expanding your knowledge and being above the herd. And trust me when I tell you this, from experience, there are very few people that are doing it, and fewer that are doing it consistently. When I started in the personal development industry, I started dedicating half an hour to an hour just to expand my knowledge, to go beyond what everybody who is studying with Bob is studying. I remember myself going to Bob's business partner, Sandy Gallagher, who also is my mentor, and I told her, Sandy, I want to be above the herd. List me books of what I could read that could get me more advanced than anyone else. And she wrote me a sheet that I still do have it, and then she described to me exactly how to read them, their sequence and their order. How often should I read them? And I'm still doing that all the time. And it's still paying off, not only in my profession, not only in my pocket, but also in my personality. Today, I feel very confident that you could take me to any platform or any person and ask me to help them. I would do it immediately like that because I had the proper knowledge. But know this, I did it consistently and I'm still doing it, and I'll keep doing it until the day I die because I love it. That's why in the very first beginning I suggested find something you really love, you really care about. If you are in art, you love drawing so much, you will never dedicate these 30 minutes to say learning how to stock exchange. You might do it for a year or two if you want extra money, but you won't dedicate your whole life to it, wouldn't you? All right? So stay a giraffe in comparison to your peers in the area by widening your knowledge for 30 minutes or maybe more. And maybe you would even spend your weekends even doing it, because it won't be like studying hard anymore. It's going to be fun. All right? And with that, we have covered the first part of our game plan, which is the checklist. I know it's very simple. You might find it commonplace, but trust me when I tell you this, most people overlook it. Most people think it's so simple, we don't need to do this, da, 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 da. No, we're not here to have fun. We're here to make things happen in your life. So you have also workbook. Put it into use that will help you to apply all these techniques. So you don't have to bother going through the video and see what you should apply in the workbook. After we go through this video, you could download the notebook, the workbook, and go through each of the exercises and learn how to apply whatever we're teaching. Okay? Breathe for a few seconds. Let's just take 10 seconds of break. All right, let's move to the next part of the approach. How to approach your mentor. This is our roadmap to the mentor we want to get. And the first step to get to your mentor is worth. Once again, and the only reason why I go over it over and over and over again, because the mental side, the mental aspect, the way you see yourself, you esteem yourself is the most important thing. There is a guy by the name of Lecky, Lecky, and he was a classical golf trainer or educator. And he said that 90% of the learning process, be it in golf and tennis or any other undertaking, even business, 90% is mental. And when you master this mental side, your self-esteem side, you usually automatically master the other 10 parts, which is action, dedication of 8% and 2% skill. Believe that you're the kind of a person who is already mentored by the best, because as I mentioned earlier, you are great. You don't need to be great. All right? Relax. And in your mind eyes, see yourself talking to the person you want them to mentor you. See her talking to you, guiding you. Close your mind and visualize yourself clearly being mentored by the person you want them to help you. Do it every day. And you might take 5 minutes before you go to sleep, lying down in bed, and see yourself already sitting down with that mentor and sharing your results with them. You might want to see them congratulating you on reaching your goal. And here's the important part. Sleep in that state while you're visualizing. You don't have to understand it totally. Just take my word for it. You have nothing to lose. And I can tell you from experience and conviction that it works. Let me talk to you about the interest spark, which has a significant role to play with your self-esteem. Birds of a feather do flock together. Now, successful people are very attractive people because they are interesting companions, usually, right? The most successful people, you would notice them very incredible people to go along with. And they also respond to interesting vibes. Isn't that great? Like, take a look at Sir Richard Branson's Instagram account. You will find him the most incredible person. He is an achiever. He's a risk taker. He's a humble and wonderful human being. He had the heart of an angel who is doing a lot of great charitable work and making the world a better place. And he's a good tennis player, by the way. He does a lot of adventures. He is an interesting guy. And these people, successful people, are responsive to interesting vibes. Now, the key is that you become an interesting person. How you can do that? Be interested yourself in something. That's the only thing you need to do. Get interested in something you're really interested in. And once again, find something you really care about that interests you. And take my word for it, that you will automatically grab many great people's attention. All right, that's the first step. The second step is reach. After finding the connection link, as we have said in the first step, be flexible according to them. Activate it. Start executing your plan. You might ask that friend to connect you with them. You might contact them on the website. You might enroll in their course and go there. There is a way to find every person. And I'm pretty sure if you'll put the time and effort, you're going to find it sooner or later. If you have to do a lot of work, trust me, this is the best investment of your time and efforts. Second, be flexible according to them and don't take it personal. Sometimes when you go to really busy people and ask them to help you, they will tell you, okay, let's meet tomorrow, 4 o'clock, let's say at Starbucks. And while you're on their way, you receive a message. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't be there. I got a little bit busy and I got too attached. And this could happen 2 or 3 times. Listen, if that person is a successful person and you found it to be a good person, they're usually telling the truth. And I know it's very hard to like and understand at the moment with your emotions, but don't be bothered to say, okay, don't worry about it. Let's meet another time. What time suits you? And when they see you that you're really flexible and dead serious, they're going to respect their time with you and help you. And last thing, set out a time to meet them and make sure that you prepare to the best of your ability to it. Not only for the first time when you ask them, but also when you come to follow up with them. Set up maybe a regular basis, maybe once a month or twice a month, or maybe once every 2 months. Or every time you finish as a milestone, you reach out to them and ask them what to do next. All right? Create a mental picture of you already being mentored. This is another notification for you. Because as I mentioned, the mental side is the most important one. And let me talk to you a little bit more about the right mindset. Now, I'm going to give you a technique that will help you to create that mental picture. I want you to go and dial any phone number on your phone and save it. And save it under their name. Let me give you an example. Let's say the person you want to be mentored by a lady whose name is Susan B. You would dial any number and save it as Susan B. And every now and then, just dial this number. I know it sounds silly, but this is a visualization technique that your subconscious mind, because the subconscious doesn't argue with any idea. So try like calling her maybe 2 or 3 times a day. It will give your subconscious mind the impression that you and Susan B are in direct contact all the time. And this, I find it very great asset to give you the right impression and impress your conscious and your subconscious mind that you are mentored by the person or mentored by the best. Second, you write their name. Just take a piece of paper whenever, every now and then. You don't have to do it even every day, maybe 2-3 times a week, and just write down their name. This kind of a process is all subconscious, and the subconscious mind is all powerful, and it accepts whatever idea you give to it. It doesn't matter if it's true or false. It doesn't matter if you are already achieving it or not. It will see that you get it through. And the subconscious mind, trust me, has ways you know not about. So therefore, when you dial their phone numbers and you give this message to your subconscious mind every now and then, and you write down their name, there would be kind of familiarity connection with your mind about them. And inside your subconscious mind, there is something that triggers the power within you that attracts everything you need to manifest that picture. And lastly, something called the questioning method. I learned this actually from Bob Proctor. This is not something I made up myself. Bob was very impressed by a person named Napoleon Hill who wrote Think and Grow Rich long time ago. And so Bob, whenever he was stuck with any problem, he was also fascinated by also Earl Nightingale. He was fascinated by many other great people. And whenever he has any problem, he would write it down on a piece of paper and look at it. Okay, he says, that's the way Bob is looking at it. And then he would go to the other side of the table and look at it. That's a perception thing. And he would say, how would Napoleon Hill do that? How would Napoleon Hill solve this problem? Trust me, this kind of technique gives you both a subconscious impression and it gives you a vibration of how to look for the solution instead of just the question. And once again, you could try it once or twice and see the difference that it has yourself. The third step in reaching out to the mentor is called TNS, tell and show. Let me show you how to tell. Because of the mental picture you had created, which is in detail, you eliminated the biggest obstacle that most people have, nervousness. Why? Because you replaced it with excitement. Most people are nervous not because they're shaking, because they are not exact about it. All right? Some people, they get nervous when they get to speak because they are not sure how to act emotionally in front of people while speaking or while meeting this boy or this girl. But when you know what you're going through and understand, and you know what to say and what you would do, an excitement takes off if it is something you want. And you do it with ease. In fact, without it would be effortless, right? And then tell them with emotions what do you want and how you're willing to follow them. Vibrations move while we're talking. Do you see sometimes in movies where somebody looks at his wife or she looks at her husband and one person tells the other, I love you, and they know they're not true? That's called vibration. They feel it. And when you have done your mental effort, the intellectual effort, and got your emotions involved, you affect their emotions directly. And even though if they want to resist you intellectually, their emotions know and feel what you're feeling. And sometimes they don't know why. They would just say, okay, I'm going to help you because I just feel like I want to help you. And it happened to me once, a guy who said to me, no. And I don't know, out of the blue, he then called me the other day, okay, I want to help you. This is called emotions. Vibrations are real. if we would but understand them and utilize them in our side instead of just, randomly live without knowing them. Show them that you're a doer by showing them what you have done so far. You remember when I told you about the COC, the cause of the cause, the cold calling, blah, 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 blah. When you show them that you're covering at least the basics or part of the basics, they know that, well, this guy is really serious. And all what they need is a guidance and understanding. And then they would probably take you. I had a student from the UK, his name is Harry Chaplin. He did the exact things that I told him. He produces music, and he is from the same town that Ed Sheeran came from. And I met him actually at Bob's event on July 2018. And I told him, why don't you find yourself a mentor? And then he got introduced to a guy who happened to be an audio producer. And I told him, ask him to mentor you. And then he told him whatever I'm sharing with you right now. And he has already produced some music. He was so impressed by him that he introduced him to another guy in LA who produced actually music, I think, for Beyonce, Jay-Z, and some other great artists. And now Harry, just a few weeks ago, we are right now in February 2019. A few weeks ago, he moved from London to LA to work on a 1-year internship with a huge audio producer, producer. Do you know that he has skipped a lot of levels? He's going right now after the big goal with almost the same effort, if not less. He would have to, I think he would work 8 to 9 hours a day, maybe 10, but he would produce incredible results. When you follow the right guidance, when you follow the right people, it makes a lot of difference. That's the reason why I'm making this program for you. And I know a lot of this stuff might sound silly and very simple. Trust me. Most, if not everybody, are overlooking them. So please take this lesson seriously. Take this program which I created for you seriously and start applying it. All right? Here's the bonus. If you have testimonials, if you have helped someone, results that you have created by yourself, show them. All right. And the last step on your roadmap to approach your mentor is follow. Be willing to pay the price and do whatever it takes. That's what Harry did actually. When I started to mentor him, to get the mentor that he needed and to do some adjustments, he did exactly the things I said. When Bob tells me to do something, to read something, as I had mentioned earlier, I do them. I don't argue with him. Why? I don't tell him that's too much. I just do it. Listen to the right person. It's like what Gary Vee once said. Don't listen to the advice, but look at the person who is giving you the advice. If they have results, yes, I'll listen to them. Doesn't matter. Even if they tell me give up sleep, I will give up sleep because they know better than I am of what I want. And I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And I think so should everybody that strives to reach their goal. And I believe that you are one who's willing to do whatever it takes. Because otherwise you wouldn't be spending time here listening on how to improve your life. Listen to them because it's a valid action, not a waste of time. Not a stupid hard work, not a ridiculous, silly hustle scheme, wake up early, 4:30 a.m. and work until midnight. No, this is something that works. No questions about it. All right? And we have covered the checklist. We have learned the approach All what is needed right now is your appliance. Listen, even if you have the best advice in the world, if you don't act upon it, if you don't do something about it, nothing will happen. Nothing will work unless you work it, right? So you have the workbook right now. Go ahead, use it to the best, wear it out literally. Take the time to improve yourself. And I can guarantee you this is an investment that will pay off. This is Walid Naki here. I really appreciate you for coming on this $1 Million Mentor program, and I really look forward to help you. Let me know if you need anything. I'll talk to you soon.